Hi, and welcome back to Football Made Simple.
United's rough start to this season continues, as Zerbi's Brighton came to Old Trafford and walked out with all 3 points. Looking at the XG time map, much of the match was closely contested, the difference being the clinicality between the two sides. But Brighton were tactically interesting as always, so what went right and wrong for them and United? Well, when Brighton were on the ball, for the most part, United were not pressing too intensely, as the passes per defensive action shows. In general, the Seagulls would look to split the centre-backs either side of the goalkeeper, and could use Dahoud as a single pivot, with the full-backs happy to either be deep and wide or be found higher up the pitch. And the role of Pascal Gross would vary depending on the situation, as we could see him begin in this position as a standard second pivot alongside Dahoud, and United's response to this led to some problems. If United were using a 2-man front line to press Brighton's back three, what this would usually mean is that once the ball was active, there would be only one outlet option, and once the keeper played the ball to the wider centre-back, the far side centre-forward could then look to cut off the pass back inside through the goalkeeper, allowing United to essentially trap the opposition on one side of the pitch, meaning the rest of the side could then commit to defending that side of the pitch. But this is not what happened. United were concerned about getting overloaded in the midfield, and did not want to let Brighton play through the centre of the pitch, and as a result, rather than press with 2 forwards, one man always remained deep, alongside Fernandes picking up the other pivot to prevent their central overload. This meant when the remaining forward pressed the backline, Steele would still have easy access to both sides of the pitch, making Brighton less predictable and therefore making it difficult for the rest of the United side to commit to defending one side of the pitch. But the right-hand side patterns from Brighton unlocked the game. Oftentimes, Gross would not be in the pivot position and instead take up these regions. With the Brighton fullbacks playing wide, it was often up to Eriksen and McTominay to cover both the central and wide regions. McTominay's athleticism meant he could much more easily do this, so Brighton instead exploited these 2 versus 1 situations on the right-hand side, as when Eriksen was dragged infield to prevent the central play, which was United's priority, the pass to Veltman over the top would be on, and Eriksen didn't quite have the same athleticism. This would lead to 2v1 situations where Reguilon would be isolated if Casemiro could not cover in time, often leading to Adingra getting in behind. But this was just the beginning of matters. Brighton were looking to overload the centre at times to make it more difficult for United's wide central midfielders to simply cover the fullbacks. This would be through a box midfield with Lallana and Welbeck occupying these higher positions. Lisandro Martinez was hyper-aggressive in man marking, meaning he would follow Welbeck deep, leading to a gaping hole in this position that Adingra could then make aggressive runs into time and again. We even saw this in the first goal. So in open play, Brighton built with the 2-box-3 formation, with Lamptey transitionally joining the different lines as the game demanded. But despite Brighton trying to overload the centre, one thing that must be commended from United is how well they defended the midfield region. The narrow front three made it difficult to get the first pass into central regions, and often when they did this, they looked to enact their pressing trap due to having 5 men ready to contract the centre of the pitch. In fact, the Reds often won the ball in central midfield regions and a transition would occur. Although if Brighton did get that first pass central, the next pass was usually to a fullback. With no winger, what this usually did was force United's midfielder cross to compensate, subsequently allowing the switch to the Brighton winger lead into dangerous play. But Brighton's attacking shape did leave them vulnerable. With only 2 pivots, who often did push high up in the attack, United's foundation of 3 midfielders would often mean Bruno could remain higher in this position. If he received between the lines on the break, United were running at the back line, and with both Brighton fullbacks often high, Rashford would look to make runs into this space on both sides. When United were on the ball, Brighton were much more aggressive in their press, almost going man-to-man. If there were no short options available, United would often go long to Højlund, who was good with his holder play and could be a genuine outlet option under pressure. But in open play, United would look to take advantage of this man-oriented shape from Brighton in different ways. We would often see Rashford drop extremely deep, drawing the centre-back towards him and creating a gap in the defence for the midfield runner, but this was never taken advantage of. With no traditional wingers to mark, Brighton's fullbacks were often tasked with tucking onto the wider central midfielders, and that created massive problems for Zerbi, as we would often see Rashford drifting wide and receiving the pass isolated against the Brighton centre-back, leading to many dangerous situations. Overall, United may not have been as bad as the scoreline suggested. However, the result makes for ugly reading for the Reds. For the manager tactical scores, despite a strong start, a failure to adapt means Ten Hag only gets a 4.5, while Zerbi gets a 7. If you want a closer look at what is going wrong with United tactically, check out this video linked on screen now in the top right and the pinned comment.
And the visuals for this video are provided by the wonderful Metrica Sports, which is an amazing video analysis platform for coaches, players, or anyone wanted to make analysis videos like myself. It allows you to create and share amazing illustrated analysis videos in an intuitive manner. And the best part is, if you want to check it out, by using the code FootballMadeSimple at checkout, you can get a nice 5% discount.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, you might enjoy the content available on my Patreon. Not only does Patreon help to support the continued production of content, as I am a one-man team, but it also gives you early access to videos that will come on the channel. You'll also get exclusive videos, get to vote on polls, and so much more, and it's cheaper than ever, no longer having a tier system, so everyone on the Patreon gets access to all the content. So head over to patreon.com/footballmadesimple to check it out.
But that's all for today, and remember, keep it simple.